In the Council, government minister of the member state government presents and adopts common policies on EU legislation that's proposed by the Commission. The Council has two different voting thresholds, unanimity and double majority. In the former, new proposals fail to be adopted if a member state votes against. Note that abstentions does not count as a vote against. Under double majority voting, each member state has voting weights proportional to the population. For a proposal to pass, it will need the support from 55% of the member state, representing at least 65% of the EU population. Note that abstentions effectively counts against the proposal. Negotiations in the Council are conducted in the shadow of these voting rules. Before we discuss voting, we need to say something about the organization of the workload in the Council. The Council is chaired by the Council Presidency. The Presidency rotates amongst the member states twice a year. The order is determined alphabetically on the basis of the member state's name in the native language. Each Presidency sets out its priorities, which guides the agenda. Topics that are important to the Presidency may be moved up the agenda, and issues where the Presidency risks being on the losing side might be stalled. To ensure some continuity in the leadership of the Council, the current Presidency consults with the previous and the next Presidency. This trio is sometimes collectively labeled the Troika in the Council literature. Proposals are first discussed in the working groups of the Council. Here, representatives from the member state meet to discuss the substantive proposal and find the formulations that are acceptable to all. These representatives are policy experts, often with a strong background in the relevant policy area. Most of the differences between member states are resolved at the working group level. Remaining differences are then discussed at the COREPER meetings. In these meetings, the permanent representatives of the member states, the top diplomats to the EU, meet. The results of the COREPER meeting is a list with a series of A and B points. A points are issues that have already been resolved, while B points merit further discussions amongst the ministers in the Council. The vast majority of cases are A points. The membership in the Council vary by policy area. In principle, fishery ministers meet to discuss and adopt proposals for fishery policies. Finance ministers meet to discuss and adopt economic policy. However, due to time constraint, it might be that some fishery proposals are adopted in the meeting for finance ministers. Formal voting in the Council is only reported for adopted legislation. So regardless of the voting rule, most legislation that is adopted is reported to be adopted without any dissent. As a result, some scholars conclude that there is a culture of consensus in the Council. When meeting in the Council to decide on a proposal, each minister may support, abstain, or oppose. It is also possible to issue a formal statement on the proposal. Most formal statements include critique of some aspects of the adopted proposal. While knowing that the proposal will pass, some member states nevertheless decide to formally record their opposition to the proposal. Why? Some member states, such as the UK, Germany, and Sweden, have historically been more often on the losing side than other member states. Also, while Germany and the UK are more often on the losing side than other member states, they are rarely together on the losing side of a successful proposal. This is partly due to the fact that if they were, most likely there would be other member states opposed as well. Hence, the proposal would fail to have necessary support and it would not get reported. There are structural reasons for some member states to be at odds with the rest of the Council on some policy areas. Moreover, ideological difference may lead some government to be at odds with their fellow Council members. Shift in the member state governments might lead to different voting behavior. And as a result of this, it may change a losing minority into a successful blocking minority. Some member states may choose to vote against a proposal even if they would prefer to the status quo in order to establish a credible threat in future negotiations. Alternatively, some government might want to oppose legislation that they know will pass in order to silence their opposition at the domestic area.